All right, squat every day, day 6. Here we come. Today was gonna be kind of like a somewhat of a heavy squat day, not super heavy, but generally I try to push about 80% of my capacity, and on a heavy day I'll do that for volume. So my 80% is calculated at about 225 right now. So I work up to 225 today, and I did it for 5 sets. So anyway, this is my warm up here. You can watch me doing a bunch of weird stuff, trying to get my joints and stuff moving and going. I'm not exactly a like a training expert or whatever. So my warm ups are just me kind of messing around, trying to figure stuff out and feel everything moving, and see if I can identify any problems before I start. And if I don't see any red flags, then I just go. Anyway, so today I wanted to talk about something that I think is really important in today's society, I guess. And that topic is anxiety. And I'm going to explain in my best way, like the best way I can, simply how I believe anxiety is not the biggest deal. But I do know for a fact that most people, if not every single person, struggles with anxiety. So, the analogy I like to use to make it make sense in my head is that like our bodies are like a car, and so you have different all obviously you have a bunch of different mechanical parts that are working together in order to create the motion and the energy and all these things that you need to drive your car. So when it comes to anxiety, I think anxiety is somewhat of like a gauge of how it's almost like our check engine light, if that makes sense. And so you can also compare it, you can also use depression in this example, how depression is more related to like your dopamine levels, I think. So it's like more like when you need an oil change, or your car is low on gas, either one, however you think is easier to picture it. Anxiety is when the check engine light starts flashing or something like that. Basically, your anxiety is telling you that you need to fix something, or that something is not up to proper like working condition, and you need to take a look at it. So people think that anxiety is just a thing that happens, that it's like a medical thing, and that you're just anxious and nervous all the time, and you need to take medication to fix it. Really, I believe, this is me personally, I believe that for the majority of cases, anxiety is a natural response when your life is being threatened. And it's not so severe, but it's just enough that you can notice it. I think anxiety is the early onset of a fight or flight response. And so basically, in our day and age, we're so invested in the internet and social media and stuff like this, that we never get out and actually develop ourselves as people. Like growing up, kids are becoming really soft, and I was one of those kids, still am. I'm doing my best to get stronger, but basically a lot of us are just walking around as adult children. We're not grown. We're not developed enough, I guess, to provide or protect or anything. And so the survival instinct in our body is kicking in and telling us that it's time to get off our butt and do something about it. And so that feeling we're feeling is called anxiety. At least that's what we called it. And so if you don't recognize what it is, and especially if you don't do anything about it, how do you expect the check engine light to just turn off? The problem is not going to go away. It's going to stay there, and it might even get worse. And so that's why I think the best cure for anxiety is just to do stuff, to get going, and first of all, is to find discipline in something. Anyway, so here in the squat, working up to 185, the thing I'm focusing most on is getting good depth, because my goal is to hit a 300-pound squat, or a little bit over 300 pounds relatively soon. And so if I'm going to do that, I want to make sure my form is good. The last thing I want is to half rep my PR, and so I want to make sure I'm getting the full range of motion. So now working up to 205, and then my top sets are all at 225. And so it was kind of a quick warm-up, but I did high volume of reps. I did like about 10 reps per set for the warm-ups, and then I went into the heavier sets. So anyway, hopefully that analogy of anxiety works for you guys like it works for me. It helps me to put things into perspective. And so I wanted to talk about some things that I do, I guess. So basically the thing I'm trying to convey is that it's not only feasible, not only possible, but it will happen, that if you start to be disciplined in doing certain things, that your anxiety will kind of go away. Not like it won't be there, but like it'll be like something you can disregard easily. Like these days I don't really feel anxious. I actually feel good, because it's almost like my body knows I'm righting the ship, I'm going in the right direction. Because not every single person can put 225 pounds on their back and squat it. Even though that's not the heaviest weight for gym goers, it's like people that don't go to the gym could not do this, what I'm doing right now. So just the fact that I can do this is telling me that I'm strong enough to handle life's challenges that get thrown at me. So my fight or flight response is kind of being calmed down a little bit. Like I don't have the fear that something will happen to me because I'm not prepared. And so I kind of wanted to talk about a little story. This is kind of a fun one, but this is something super relatable, I think, to a lot of young people these days. It's about this girl I'm talking to, or I was talking to. And so basically, anxiety kind of ruled my life for a little bit. It's never something I've actually struggled with very much. It only came up in the last year or so, and I only dealt with it for a few months before I kind of was able to kind of look at it and diagnose it, dissect it, and kind of pick it apart. And I was able to fix the things that were wrong with me. I think it's kind of an issue that some people don't have, or some people have, is they can't just look at things objectively, and they can't figure out solutions to their problems. But I was able to do that with my anxiety. Anyway, so now these days I look for opportunities to do things that might have been scary to me in the past. Now that I'm a different person, I want to look back at the things that I didn't accomplish when I was younger, and I'm looking to accomplish them now. And so there's this girl that I was talking to, and we've known each other for years, and we've gotten along in the past, but more like on the friendship level. And so not like I have any deep feelings for her, but I was just like, you know what? Like, there's no reason to not just talk to her and ask her if she wants to spend time with you. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. And the funny thing is that through the course of conversation, I kind of found out, after a little bit, it's like I realized you have to be kind of bold with these things. You can't just beat around the bush. And so I asked her if she wanted to call me and we could talk or whatever. And then she didn't answer for a while, and she said that that calls give her anxiety and all these things, like, oh, I'm busy, and she all these excuses. And so it kind of made me reflect and realize that I've kind of moved past that point where that doesn't give me anxiety. I just know for a fact that nothing bad can come from just talking to someone. And so anyway, it's kind of a funny thing that the girl I'm talking to, by the way, she didn't even say that, nothing along the lines of oh, I don't like you or anything. No, she literally said because of her anxiety, she didn't want to talk or whatever. And I just think it's the craziest thing how something like anxiety can get in the way of doing the things you most want to do. I don't know if she wants to call me or if she wants to talk to me. At this point, it doesn't really matter to me because, we're not even living in the same state or in the same area. I don't even know if I'll ever see her ever again. So it was kind of a shot in the dark just to see if anything happened. But it kind of gives me what's it called, clearance of conscience, or anyway, I don't know how to talk, but anyway, it's kind of giving me a peace of mind. That's what it is, peace of mind that I did my part. But it's that she is dealing with the same thing that I used to deal with when I didn't want to talk to her. And now that I've overcome that, it's actually the very thing that's stopping it from happening again. It's on her end, she's feeling all these emotions and nervousness and all these things. I just think that everyone needs to look at it objectively, and if we can all fix our anxiety, then we can fix a lot of our problems on our own. We won't need anyone else's help to fix ourselves. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a story for anyone out there that might find benefit from that. I don't know if that's helpful to anyone. It's helpful to me because I know now I can just move on and look for other people to talk to. But anyway, life is a learning experience, but you'll learn faster if you just start doing things. And if you wait, your learning will be delayed, and your progress and your growth will also be delayed. So RDLs, a couple things I've learned is first of all your grip strength is gonna go through the roof if you do this consistently. I like to vary my grip strength. I don't do the same grip every time. Sometimes I do it narrower, sometimes I do it wider, just because I want to focus on overall grip strength, but I also want to focus on hitting different angles because indirectly, by holding the weight with my hands, I know I'm pulling on my back, and so that's increasing my back strength as well. So to hit different angles on my back, I'm using different widths and different whatever of grip strength. You kind of soften your knees, you go down into it and bend at your knees a little bit, mostly bend at your hips, and then stand it back up, and you'll feel it in your hips and in your back. So anyway, that is it for me today. I always try and find the last little thing I can squeeze in at the end of the video, but I don't really have anything. So that's it. Day 7 tomorrow. Stay tuned.